Alright, I am back, and today, after years of waiting, we finally have the finished Fansproject Dinos. So here they all are in Dino mode. All of the fixes that I did in the repair bay yesterday, for the most part, 100% successful. His was probably his are actually the most successful. Grimlock, I kind of wish I could do a little bit more with him. I'm going to probably give up on it, actually. I don't want to take him apart too many times. Really wish I could have figured out how to lock those shoulders into place. Swoop, I think I may have overdid it on the Swoop. Sludge here came out perfect. But yeah, I was really impressed with the way these two came out. So, with the repair bay, anyway. So here we are with all of the dinos in their dino mode together. You can see how they all scale. Swoop, you know, it all depends on the way you like your scale. You know, some people will like to say Sludge is too small here. But because they can't mass shift, Sludge would ideally be the same size as the other Dinobots, and that's where he's at. With Grimlock being the little bit bigger one. I think they look great together, especially the four-legged ones. I think they do look good. He's a little bit thicker than the other two. He's probably the smaller one, but that's probably due to the way the head is. But overall, I think they look really good together. I think this is a great chug set of Dinobots. So I'm going to say this now, and I'm probably going to say this a dozen other times in this review. All of this will depend on your personal aesthetic preference. Excuse me. If you're the type that you want the G1 style Dinobots, this is not going to do it for you. If you're looking for the G1 toy style Dinobots, this is not going to do it for you. This will work solely if you are down with the kind of neo aesthetics of the Dinobots. Outside of that, I think they all look pretty good. And I just remembered a couple Dinobots I wanted to put in here for comparison, so I'm going to go grab those. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. We're going to do some size comparisons. But yeah, like I was saying, with aesthetic-wise, you know, this you really have to be into the neo aesthetics to really get into this set. And as far as I'm concerned, from what I've played with and such, this set really kind of goes with itself. None of these really, you can be like, you know what, I like this guy the most, so I'm going to take him and I'm going to pop him into the Fall Cybertron dinos. It's not going to work. You might be satisfied for a day or two, but ultimately you're not going to like it. It's either all or nothing with this set, as far as I'm concerned. So, let's do some size comparisons. So we'll kind of shift these dinos a little bit, like that. And I want to show them off against some other Hasbro stuff. So the first one is the Power of the Prime's Sludge here. Or not Sludge, crap, why can't I remember his name? Slag. There's the little guy there. So, now, I've seen a lot of people argue the point that, Hasbro's Power of the Primes are cheaper and they're going to be a better option, but I want to point this out. Now, since these guys have been, we'll go with the original release. These guys were about $100 a piece. This is about $17 toy. So this is probably about 5 times the cost. But quite frankly, it looks about 5 times the figure too. So yeah, we'll get into more of that in a little bit as we go. But I just want to show this off. If you're thinking that these guys are a better option than these guys because of scale. Here they are with the Hasbro's first attempt at a modern Dinobot. So let's see here. Let's compare them with the Grimlock here. So, and this is the Takara version. So it's got the better paint scheme. It's got some chrome on there. I think I reviewed this guy years ago, but I can't remember. But as you can see, you know, it's still, he's a lot bigger, beefier. And remember, these guys are the same size scale. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't have the newest Grimlock, the Power of the Primes Grimlock that just came out, but I do have the Fall Cybertron Grimlock here. See how it looks there. So, there you go. Other things to do here. Here he is with the little Optimus, hybrid style Optimus. I would say these are probably a little too big for that. Now, if you got these guys, I'd say these two work pretty well together. We then have a Deluxe Prime here. And I think that he's a little too big, but I think it works. Or a little too small, but I think it works pretty well. I would say this is probably, if you're going with the Dinobot scale, this is probably the best way to go. Again, you know, you can't mass shift toys, so let's see, what else do I got to scale? Here's Voyager Prime. I think that's pretty acceptable. So yeah, I'd say that's acceptable. I don't think it's the best. Here they are with the Make Toys Prime. I think he's a little bit too big for these guys in Dino mode. I guess I have them sitting over here. Here they are with Primal, which has nothing to do with them, so he's just there. MP10. So they would not work with Masterpiece scale or design. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Seeker. I think that actually scales perfectly with these guys. So here's the jet mode of Dreadwind here. And yeah, there's a scene where you see the Grimlock's biting onto one of the Seekers. I think it was Thundercracker, maybe. I can't remember now. I would say that's actually probably about the right scale there for that. Modern Day Legends figure. So like if this was Wheelie, I'd say that would actually work pretty well. Modern Day Voyager. And Titan Return Deluxe, so a pretty modern day Deluxe. There you go. Lots of scale comparisons here. And here they are with Fansproject Intimidator. I don't have any other combiners at the moment. See, like in the movie, he was able to go right up to about Devastator's knee. So I would actually say this Dino scale to combiner scale, this is actually going to work. Although, like for me, I'd put this on a different shelf. I'm putting him on a different shelf than my regular figures because, you know. Let's see here. This scale does not work very well for me. Having the Megatron go up to about his waist. So they would be on a different shelf. So if you were wanting to keep these guys in Dino mode, they would scale with the Combiner Wars, Fansproject, Make Toys size combiners. So yeah, there they are. We'll go ahead and get them in the robot mode and go from there. Okay, so I was unsatisfied the way I left things with these Dino modes before I flip them over. So, because it's relevant, I went out and I got the Power of the Primes Grimlock, and there he is. There he is for size comparison. So again, you know, if you're looking for the Neo aesthetics, this is a better option. But if you're looking for more G1 aesthetic, this is a good option, but it's not great because of it's a combiner and they compromise the figure because of it. Although I will say this head, like this top section right here, is so Grimlock. But size-wise, that feels so much more like a deluxe. Here he is with we'll go more in scale with him in his review, but I guess that's about the same. I don't know. It feels really small to me, but anyway, we'll get him. We'll get them all transformed, and we'll go from there. All right, so we are back, and let's talk about these Fansproject Dinos again. Now, here they all are in their robot mode. I think this team looks great together. I really, really do. Let's zoom in a little bit. So, you got Snarl with Slag here. Slag's a little bit taller than Snarl. And then you got, over here, you got Swoop and Sludge, with Sludge being a little bit taller than Swoop. Grimlock in the middle being the tallest of them all. Actually about the same size as Slag there. But he still has more bulk to him. And ultimately I'd say, Grimlock is overall the biggest. He's got the most bulk to him. And that's actually kind of where my ideal Dinobots would be, scale-wise with each other. I do like it. I know a lot of people want Sludge to be the biggest, but in the show, he never was. He was about the same size as the rest of the Dinobots, and Grimlock was always just a little bit bigger. So for me, I think this works pretty well. I think he could have been a little bit smaller. It would be my one complaint, and maybe Swoop have a little bit more bulk to him, but I kind of like the lankiness of him. So now let's talk, before we get into comparisons, size comparisons and such. I want to talk about the weapons. So we start off. This came with Sludge. This was the first release, and you see he's got this. It's rounded on the top and bottom, and then it's flat on the sides. Now, the way the hands, all of them, this is all across the board. The way that the hands are all designed is they've got a 5mm port here with a hand that opens. So because it opens, it won't peg in. Now, if you put it in sideways. He's going to hold it a lot better if you get it at a right angle here. See? So he'll hold it better sideways, but as soon as you go forward, it's going to fall straight out. You can close his hand, and he kind of has a grip on it, but not great. As opposed to if you had just a 5mm weapon, like this little gun from Optimus here, which you could plug in and it would have just worked perfect. So that's where they started at. I have to say, I mean, I tried to tighten it, and I gotta say, it's a fail. It's a complete fail. This gun is a fail. Then we move on to Slags Weapons. Now, as you can see, very similar design, where it's rounded on the tops and flat on the sides. He can hold his weapons a little bit better than Sludge, but not that much better. Again, 5mm port. If they would have just done a 5mm port weapon, he could have held it just fine. Actually, that's a little tight. I think they had a little plastic in there to try and tighten that up. But he can hold it. So, again, fail. You know, and they have 5mm ports here and here on all of these weapons, so I don't see why they couldn't just make this a 5mm port. I mean, just make it rounded. That's all they would have had to do. And they're not the only ones that are guilty of this. Hasbro did it with the one I would say the most notable was the Prime RC, where she had similar shaped weapons. But her hand was kind of permanently open like this, so if you put the weapon in this way, it almost always fell out. You have to just get it at a perfect angle. All right, now we go into Swoop, and he came with two guns. Now these have these little tabs at the end, similar to Make Toys, but not Make Toys. Make Toys. See here. Like, this is the Prime one. This, for example, they have a cross section in there, so it actually slides into a groove into Optimus's hand. Their MP dinos have like a little T at the end of it, so you can tab them in. So his work probably the best of them all. They slide in there pretty well, and he holds them. He holds it really well. And his hands are still 5mm ports, so we could still plug in our standard gun. Okay, so he actually is the one that is successful in this. And I'm just going to plug these into the back here, because I kind of like that look. Alright, then we get to Grimlock. He's the next release. Now he comes with a total 3 guns, and they all have the same T shape, or the same tab section on the back. Now, it doesn't work as well as Swoop's. You can get it in there, but sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. You have to get it perfectly in there, and even then, it doesn't always, like when I was reviewing this yesterday, which for you guys was a couple days ago, I was getting it to stay in there really well, but now I can't seem to keep it in there. And again, it's a 5mm port, and all you would have had to do is just make the peg round. It's not that hard. Oh my god. It's just, he's got 3 guns. All of them have that weird tab system, and none of them work well. And I just don't understand how they can release 4 figures in a row and not sit there and think, why don't we just make these tabs round? It's bizarre. It's mind-boggling. And then we get to the last release, Snarl. He's got the plain gun, and he's got a 5mm port gun. It took them 5 releases over the course of years, I can't even remember how many years it's been, to finally be like, hey, let's make this gun round at the bottom, and then we could just plug it in. I mean, anybody could probably hold this gun just fine, because it's got that port. Even with his claw in the way, he can hold it fine. It's just so bizarre that it took them that long to get this right. I mean, seriously, I don't get it. I don't get it. And then we get to the swords. So, let's see here. I don't remember exactly who's who. I think this is Grimlock's because it's the biggest. And I think this is Snarl's. This is Sludge's, I think, and Slag, I think. I don't know. So you get, we'll look at Swoop in a second, but you get these are the first four swords I want to look at. Now they all have a cross guard that's a flat, goes straight across. Every single one of them. Okay? Alright. The problem is every single Dinobot has a big forearm, so regardless of what sword you put into their hands, it's getting caught up on that. The only way any of these guys can hold their swords, I mean, like, look at Grimlock here. He's got this big claw here. He's got a big forearm. And he's got a big forearm. The exception is Swoop. The only way any of these guys are going to hold the swords is at a sideways angle. So it has to go in this way. That's the only way it's going to work. And I don't like the way that looks at all. I hate the way that looks. I need my swords to go into the hand, so the cross guard is going across the wrist. That's where it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like this. You know, you're not going to cut somebody like, you know, coming at an angle. You're going to want to cut somebody coming up and down. Go use the weight of the sword. Anyway. So it's really, it's another fail in my opinion. I mean, I love this set, but I have to tell you exactly what's good and what's bad. I think this is a fail. Now, there's one exception to the big fat forearm rule, and that's Swoop. Swoop does not have big fat forearms. If his sword was like this, he'd be able to hold it straight up and down. Not a problem in the world. Okay? So, Fansproject decided to have his crossguard to come down at an angle. So, you can't get it all the way... The only way to hold it all the way up at the top is to go up like everybody else. He's the only one that doesn't have a flat crossguard. His come down at the points. It seems almost deliberate at this point that they don't want their Dinobots holding swords. I just don't know what to say. It is the most ridiculous thing I've seen since the guns. You know, you got two Dinobots that can really hold their guns well, and none of the Dinobots can really hold their sword properly. The swords are 5mm rounded ports, so they can all hold their swords. It's just a matter of getting them into their hands, which is really difficult. What I'm going to do is probably get my clippers out and start chopping these swords up so that I could try and get it so that they can go into an angle, but that's going to look like shit. So all of these swords I consider as fails. So that sucks. Really, really sucks. Then we get these guys. So every one of them came with a little weapon master. except for my Swoop, who came with the little Diaclone Rider. But the standard release of the Swoop came with a Weapon Master as well. Across the board, I don't like these guys at all. I like this guy. I think he's a lot of fun. He's just a fun little figure to mess around with, and especially with the magnets, I find myself messing around with him all the time. I guess magnet's not strong enough to get those screws in there, but I find myself playing with this guy a lot. I have a blast with him, especially with the magnets. I mean, you know, I was tossing him against the fridge the other day, and he would just keep sticking feet first. It was pretty fun. But the rest of these guys, I mean, if you're into stuff like that, I think they're cool, but I'm not a fan of it. You know, especially when you're sitting there thinking that every one of these came with a little figure that's supposedly a weapon, but they couldn't get the regular weapons right. I would have rather them not done these guys and put the plastic and engineering into either Dinobots to make them to fix any problems that they had, or to fix their weapons. I would sacrifice this guy in a heartbeat if these two guns just had rounded ports. That's all I mean, and maybe the sword to be cut properly. That's it. I would sacrifice these figures for that in a heartbeat. Not a question in my mind. So I don't like these at all. I gotta get this out of the way. These things just are bad. I would have preferred these guys with everybody, since we're going, you know, Diaclone kind of style. But and it sucks that you could only get, like, you get the Diaclone ones, you get these guys, you get the regular ones, you get these guys, and it's like they should have maybe done both or neither and just done separate packs. I don't know. Ultimately, I think this was a waste of time and effort when it should have been placed elsewhere. So yeah, there is that. So get these guys out of the way. I'm not going to focus too much more on these guys. We'll do a quick scale thing for these little guys real quick. Here he is with Legends Seaspray. So yeah, just to get that out of the way, so you can't say I didn't do it. Again, like I said, I don't like the little Weapon Master dudes, but I love the Diaclone Rider dudes. I think they're cool. I'm definitely going to be buying the pack of them and calling it a day. I was debating on getting the Diaclone set of the Dinobots too, but now that I've got these guys all fixed, I don't feel that urge anymore, because I'm very content with the way they are. I'm very happy the way they are, so I don't think I need another set. But I will probably pick up the Diaclone Rider pack. Alright. Done with the weapons. Next thing I want to address is the QC. Okay? So, Fansproject, I want to get all the negatives out. You know, weapons, guns, swords, and Weapon Master. Negative. The next negative is, across the board, every single one of these figures had some sort of QC issue or design flaw. Swoop, his shoulders were super loose, so I had to tighten those up. And I think I tightened them a little too tight. This is, you know, goes into the repair bay that we did yesterday. Sludge, these shoulders here were a little too loose, but not too bad. Not the actual shoulders themselves. It's the slider joint in there. To go from robot mode to dino mode, tightening those up, it makes them really, really good. And you see, he's actually swiveling at the hip joint, but his legs are solid as a rock now. So tightening those up was a must. Yes, they did come with repair, so I could kind of give them a pass on that. But they really should have given it in both sets of the Swoop. Grimlock, his feet were loose, the arms on the dino are loose, and then these panels here are loose. I wish I could have found a way to get in there to tighten those, but because of the way the backpack is assembled, I can't. Slag here, the biggest flaw he had was these shoulder pieces here, these red pieces here, not the ratchet piece that's assembled inside of there is connected to a little red tab that snapped right off. So those didn't ratchet, and his arms would, when you moved his arms, you'd be more likely to move the red piece. My fix with putting the crazy glue in there seems to be working fine now. I don't know how long that's going to last, so I'm not going to transform him probably ever again, unless I have like a big comparison video to do. But I'm very happy with that fix, and it really makes him a much more solid figure in my mind. And then, of course, he actually has no QC issues at all. This guy is stellar. So, you know, when they say that it's more the same and they just haven't improved and they kind of phoned the last one in, the only thing that they phoned in was the backpack, and that was a design error, not a QC error. This guy actually has the best QC. He's able to hold his gun without any problems. I've done nothing to the figure except for alter the backpack, which was just chop that one middle piece out, and now he's perfect. He's actually exactly what I want in a Snarl figure. So I love this guy now. If they would have done that right out of the bat, you know, instead of sending him out the way it was, I probably would have given him like a 9.5. He still can't hold a sword, but still he's the best of the QCs of the Fansproject Dinos, and yeah, now that he cleans up better, you know, that's still a backpack, but I mean, they're Dinobots, they're always going to have backpacks. So yeah, so they all require fixes, and that is a bummer. So, you know, if you are not one of those, a person like me who can easily take a Transformer apart and fix it, I can't recommend the set to you at all. Because you are going to need to get in there and do some repair work. It's just about a guarantee. You can kind of live with Grimlock and Swoop, maybe Slag, but Slag, but Sludge, you're not going to be able to get him to stand with those hips, and Snarl, because of the backpack, you know, it just looks so goofy. So yeah, you're gonna need to do some repair work, and if you're not good with that, I can't recommend this set at all. So, alright, now let's talk about the positives. Positives of the set, and then we'll get into some scale comparisons. First off, positive, they're big, they're bulky, they're awesome. I love the way they look. They have that Neo aesthetic, so if you get one of them and put them with a different set of Dinobots, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. But once you have the whole set together, I think it looks great. I love the way it looks. And I absolutely love, so Skullface pointed out in his review about the darker gray and the lighter gray and how it kind of alternated on him. But now that we were able to look at the whole set, you can see he's got it here, lighter gray, darker gray. A little bit lighter gray here, darker gray here. He's got it here, lighter gray here, darker gray here, darker gray here, lighter gray here, darker gray here, lighter gray here, dark, light, and then he's got it on here, lighter, darker. They all have that. It makes for a great breakup of colors. You know, we're not talking about the same flat silverish gray on all of them. It alternates. It changes per Dinobot. All of them have the same kind of gold work, which is incredibly well painted. I've got like one chip on him, but it all looks really good, like the contrast of this to the chrome. looks great. The red plastic across the board all matches with each other. I think his is a little bit more of a glossier red, just by hair. But other than that, it looks the same. All the paint across the board, like the metallic blue here, is not the same as that one, but it's the same as this one here, and the same as this one, and this is the Diaclone one. So they're using the same paint colors all across, and it's coming off really well because it's like unified. And then probably my personal favorite touch on this set is the chrome. I've gushed about this a few times, but I have to say, in my opinion, Fansproject is the best company when it comes to doing the chrome. It doesn't, nowhere on any of these figures does the chrome interfere with the figure, where they're like, oh, they chromed it too much and now you can't hold a weapon. You know, weapons, different matter, but it, like, things are toleranced according to the chrome. So he's got it on the spikes. It looks great. He's got it on the side plate here. Looks amazing. He's got it on the claws and the chest plate. He's got it. Where does he got it? Oh yeah, the back plate here. Nice chrome. And then the standard version of Swoop had it on the beak, I believe, and then on the arms of the wings, and then but this one has the whole wings chromed out. And they do such a great job. It feels like metal. It gets cold. Like when the room is cold, that gets cold like metal will. It's so just awesome. I love the way they do the chrome. It really sets it apart. And then the final plus is the action figure feel of these guys. These guys feel like action figures, especially now that they're fixed. They don't feel just like bricks, even though they look kind of like bricks. But they have the posability. They have the durability. They play a lot like this Prime. The Make Toys Prime. He's built to be more of an action figure with extreme poses and such, and they feel not quite as extreme as him, but they feel in that ballpark where they're great. I love them. So yeah, I think it's a great set. I highly recommend it if you are into a Neo aesthetic and you're okay with repairing some figures right out of the box. If you're not, then this is not going to be for you. If you're not into Neo, if you're not into repairing, it's not going to work. And if you're an MP collector, then this isn't going to work either. So yeah, let's do some size comparisons. So let's start off with our primes here. So here they are with the hybrid style prime. So obviously, this doesn't work any way, shape, or form. Here they are with a Deluxe Classics Prime, and I don't think that works either. Come out of the way. Here they are with the Classics Prime, the Voyager one, and I still think he's just a little too small, but the scale's almost there. I definitely like the way that looks. And here they are with the Make Toys Prime. As you see, now that I got him standing right there, to the head, he's about about a quarter of a head shorter than the Grimlock and the Slag there. But Grimlock's got more of mass to him, so he still looks like a bigger, more imposing character. So I do like the way that looks. I think it works. I think it works just fine. Here they are side by side. Straighten his legs up. But yeah, I mean, definitely the Grimlock just seems more imposing than the Prime. But size-wise, I think this is just about perfect, scale-wise. Let's see here. We got there's Legends figure. Titan Returns Deluxe. And a Voyager. So they're bigger than your typical Titans Return Voyager, which are a little bit bigger than the standard Voyager. So they're still over a head taller. So I think that looks good. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see here. Oh, here's a classic Seeker. Yeah. Let's get these guys out of the way. What else can we do? Here they are with an Igear Raptor. And they're still significantly taller than the Raptor, so I think that still works. They're bigger than the Seekers, which they should be. Just because I did it yesterday, we'll do it again today. Here they are with MP Primal and MP10. So the Grimlock's actually only about a head shorter than the Prime, but it would not work. If you're even remotely thinking this, it's not gonna work. And then here they are with Intimidator. Now, while the Dinobots kind of scale well with the Intimidator in the Dino mode, I don't think they scale well in Robot mode. Although he still is significantly bigger than them, so it could work depending on the scale you're going for. This kind of works for toy scale, G1 toy scale, but not so much cartoon scale. So yeah. And then let's do some Dinobots here. Here they are with the Power of the Prime's Sludge or Slag. So they are significantly bigger than him. Now, I want to make one thing clear real quick. I'm not shitting on this guy because of the way it looks. I think that if you're looking for a good G1 looking Slag at a good price, this is going to be a really good option for you. So when I review him, I absolutely love that figure. I do. I love messing around with it. It's a fun, quick changer. But if you're looking for something that scales with anything, this is not it. He does not scale with the Chug collection at all. Just to point that out, here they are with the Deluxe Prime, who is taller than him. So if you're going for a really small Chug scale, that might work. But this just, I mean, here he is with the Voyager Prime. That won't work for me. I can't make that work. But anyway, here they are with the first attempt at a Grimlock. Which is kind of funny looking. I mean, here they are with the false Cybertron Grimlock, who's actually decently scaled in comparison to these guys. So I would say that's fair. Fair size. And then here they are with the Power of the Primes one, who, because he's a combiner, looks a little off. But we'll go more into that when we review him. So yeah, there they all are stacked up together. And yeah, I know I'm comparing Fansproject to current Grimlocks here, and and I'm saying the Fansproject is better. The reason for that is you gotta, it's they're both for chunk collections. So if you got this Prime here, you can kind of make him work, but you can't make those guys work at all. Again, because they made it combiners, and he looks odd anyway. So anyway, all in all, as a set, I would say the Dino modes. I'd probably give the set in Dino mode 8 out of 10. Swoop looks a little goofy with the rest of them, but the rest of them all look pretty good together. And then you could get things to scale pretty well with that. Robot mode, I'm gonna give it the set as a 7 out of 10. I think they scale really well in a chug collection. Most chug collections have a Neo feel to it. I mean, even if you're going like this Prime, he's kind of has a Neo feel to him. But because of the repairing you have to do right out of the box, the lack of being able to hold the weapons, and then the Weapon Master, which I'm just not into. I gotta say, I think, I can't give it a perfect score because they're not perfect figures. I would only recommend these guys if you don't already have a complete... See, and this is where Fansproject really painted themselves into a corner. So, if you're going for a chug collection, which not many people are these days, if you don't already have a complete set of Dinobots, G Creations finished first, Toy World finished first, Planet X finished first, and they got a Flipper too. Is it Flipper? I don't know. Anyway, so there's 3 sets of Dinobots that were complete before this, and you have the money to spend on these guys. And then if you're going for that Neo aesthetic that these guys have, that's the only way, and you're willing to do some repair work on the figures right off the box. That's the only way this set's going to work for anybody. So, unfortunately, like I said, they really kind of made it into a very, very narrow gap of collectors. Had they done a better job with the QC on these guys, and a better job getting these guys out, I mean, we're talking years here. It took them years. And it's not like Fans Toys where it took them years, but each release was better than the next, and they were stellar figures. And nobody else was really competing with them. I mean, yeah, you have Gigapower, who still hasn't completed their Dinobots. And then you had, the only other one was Bullsfire, which only got 1 figure. So, there's no... yeah. So, they didn't have that kind of competition that Fansproject did. So, it's such a narrow gap of who's going to be able to collect these guys. And it really... It's kind of their own fault. And that's really unfortunate because this could have been such a great set. I mean, everybody... If they would have gotten these guys out in that first year, maybe 2... then I think they would have flown off the shelves, and they would be so hard to find right now. Right now, though, he's the only one that is still going for retail. About 120 to 140 if you get the throne. The Fembots are going for retail as well. The other ones, including him, are all on sale. He's $70. You get him for $70. Where all the rest were originally about $100. It depending on which website you go to. If you bounce between like big BBTS, TF Source, eBay, what have you, you're going to be able to find all of these guys for a really low price, 50, 60 bucks a piece, brand new in box, and then also by bouncing around, you'll be able to find the Diaclone versions for about the same price. So they're about half the price they originally were, and that is sadly where they belong price-wise. If I would have paid, you know, $100+ on each one of these guys, and I'm looking at a $550 set, I probably wouldn't be as excited about this as I am. But I think collectively I spent about $300 on this, so I can live with that. I can definitely live with that. So yeah, it really depends on preference, but I recommend it if you can meet all those conditions. But ultimately, this is why Fansproject failed. It just, you know, I mean, maybe they're still going, maybe they're not, but this set definitely hurt their reputation. It hurt their ability to get figures out. And it just, as a whole, people don't like them, and you can tell why, because, I mean, it took them so long to get this done, and there's not much great to show about it. I'm happy with my purchase. I'm very happy with my purchase. I love this set. I'm going to keep this set. I'm going to keep loving this set. But for those people out there that are like, oh, I'm not going to buy this set because it's too late, or I'm just not down with that, I fully understand. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I think that's it.